Okay, I want you to kick me in the shin as hard as you can. Do it. No, you won't do it. What was that? Did that feel any different? When I was young, I was in an electric accident. We were in a creek and in contact with a live power line. And when I was in the creek, since I was in water, the electricity went through the water and it entered my head, came out my feet. When it came out my feet, it blew my feet off. And as a result of that, I've had like 32 surgeries over the course of like 13 years. And it's been like a long road. And I guess I could say I was kind of like y'all at one point. Like there was a point in my life when I could either I could go one way or the other, and I made that decision for myself that I was going to try and excel in every single thing that I did. And I mean, I can't tell y'all that I was the best student in the world. Like I wasn't. And it came to the point where like my mom would sit me down and say, like, you got to turn this around. You got to get going. Like, you can't let this take you down. And I kind of put it in the back of my mind, like what she said. And that's kind of what I'm here for y'all, is maybe when y'all are having a hard day, or like y'all are at that turning point in y'all's lives, and y'all got to either get your grades up or, you know, maybe drop out or something. Like, you'll remember this conversation, and it'll be in the back of your mind, and you'll remember that time that kid that you have no idea who he is now, where he is, told you that you can do whatever you do. And the fact that the kid, 17 years old, is up here talking to you, played middle linebacker for his high school without legs. I feel like if I can do that y'all can do anything. And I'm not just saying that because I'm not just saying that like y'all can do it. I know y'all can do it. Raise your hands if you play sports. All y'all play sports, pretty much. Football. What do y'all play? Football, baseball? When I was in 10th grade, I went to my coach, Coach Chris Yeager, and I asked him, I said, Coach, I want to play football. And he told me, he was like, well, okay. And from that point on, football has always been like just a huge part of my life. And I've taken that and just used that. It changed my life. It really did. Just being able to be out there and practice hard as I could and do everything that I wanted to do. I don't know, with the support of my coaches and my principal and my mom and my parents, really changed my life. And just talking about choices and stuff, I know I'm kind of going all over the place, and I apologize, but the age y'all are at right now, like y'all are going to have some tough decisions. It's like what I talked about with the grades and stuff. You can go one way or the other, but you'll be faced with like other things like drugs and alcohol and stuff like that. And I'll be honest, like I was offered drugs and alcohol numerous times, like still do. You just have to take the initiative and tell those people no, because if you get caught up with drugs and alcohol, it can take you into deep, dark places. You don't want to do it. I've just kind of made it a point to myself that I'm not going to do drugs or alcohol because I don't want to be like that. And I've actually had some friends that have got caught up in that stuff, and it hasn't ended up very well for them. My sophomore year, one of my good friends ended up passing away because of drugs. And I mean, y'all can imagine how that went. There's a point to this, and I really want y'all to take advantage of it. And I want y'all to remember this conversation, remember me talking to y'all, and I really want y'all to take this and put it in the back of your mind. Stay away from that stuff, and I know that y'all will. If you really want to, y'all will.
I'm Ward's mom, and I'm going to interrupt him just for a second because he forgot to tell y'all some things. When Ward was electrocuted, he was 4 years old. And his first prosthetist that we went to see, do you know, raise your hand if you know what a prosthetist is? Okay, tell me what it is with the glasses on. Uh-huh. That's great. But the folks that make prosthetics, arms, legs, hands, eyeballs, they're called a prosthetist. Okay? And it's a hard word to say, and a lot of people aren't familiar with it. But anyway, when Ward first got out of the hospital after he was electrocuted, the first prosthetist gave him his legs. And these are Ward's first set of legs. Look at these from, we've come a long way. Can you see that? Look at that. But not only when he gave him the legs, the thing that was so impressive to me was that he looked at Ward and he said, you know what? You're probably never going to be able to run properly. Isn't that what he told you? He said, you can forget riding a bike. You won't be doing any sports that require a lot of balance, and you'll never play contact sports. He was 4 years old. Ward put these legs on. He looked at that man and he goes, you want to bet? And he took off running. And he has not slowed down since. So he started, the first thing he did, you may have forgotten this, when he came home and had his legs, the first thing he did, he taught himself how to ride a bike again. Because it's different with these. You can bend your legs, and these, you know, they're tough. He taught himself how to ride a bike again. And he said to me, when he was playing under Coach Yeager, sorry, Coach, one time he came home to me and he said, Mom, they're always telling me to do my best. They're always telling me to do my best. And he said, my best is just not good enough. And I said, so what are you going to do about that, Ward? And he goes, I'm going to do better. And I think that's part of the message that he is trying to tell y'all. You may think your best isn't good enough, so try better, try harder. Put yourself in a positive position. After he taught himself to ride a bike, he started playing football in 3rd grade. And I got a call from his coach one day who said, Marion, I need a little help from you. And I said, okay, what's the problem? He said, well, when Ward goes out on the field, he's wearing his legs backwards to freak out the other team. Actually, over the years, he was 4, so over the past 14 years, I've gotten a lot of phone calls like that. He was one time at the beach. We were at the beach, and he was little, and he had just had a surgery, and he had bandages and scars and these prosthetic legs. And there were these kids that were kind of giving him a hard time. And their mother was sitting there watching them, letting them do that. And I watched too, and I didn't say anything because I thought, I've got to let Ward make the decision that he can handle this. And so one of the little boys started crying or something because his brother took his shovel or his bucket away. And Ward turned around and he goes, he said to the little boy, I don't have a bucket, but you can use a leg. It works just like a bucket. Well, the mother just kind of sat there, and then, do you remember this? The Ward and the little boy took Ward's legs off and used them for shovels and buckets. You know, and I thought about it that night. I looked at Ward and I just said, you're so cool. You know, you have taken everything negative and turned it into a positive. Every time someone has looked at you and said, you cannot do this, he's looked at him and said, watch me.
I've been coaching 33 years, and I've never had somebody walk in and say, I want to play football and not have any legs. And he wanted 2 things. We had a player named William Playhouse, who was playing at the University of Alabama, and Ward had his number, loved William, and wanted his number. And I said, Ward, I said, that number's retired. I said, but my high school number was 55. And I said, I'd love for you to have 55, and I'd give it to my son. And nobody had worn it since my son died. I let him wear my high school number. And I've never been more proud of a person that's worn that. But I said, what position do you want to play? And he said, you're the coach. And I want to tell you something about Ward. We've been going up and down doing stadium steps with our players. And we'd tell him to go use the handrails. He wouldn't do it. And I've seen him teeter back and forth. I've seen him fall down stadium steps. I've never heard him use two words. I've known him 3 years, and I love him like he's one of mine. And I've never heard him say, I can't. I've never heard him say, I can't. And I'll tell you something, I don't know what you've got holding you back. You can do anything, you really can. He got this award from the Birmingham Touchdown Club, and they came to do an interview with him. And there was a young lady doing the interview. And she said, she's going through this thing, and Ward's standing right beside me, and they've interviewed both of us. And she said, she made this thing, she said, you've lost so much. And just almost in mid-sentence, Ward said this. He said, lost? Because I got my life. I get to play the great game of football. And he said, I've got friends who are closer than a family. I haven't lost anything. I'm blessed. And that's how he's lived his life. I can. And he looks around all the time and talks about how blessed he is. He's been such a great inspiration to me. Coached 33 years. I've coached thousands of young men. I've never been around one like this. And I promise you this. If you take his fighting spirit and his extraordinary will to win in life, and you take that and you apply it to yours, I promise you, wherever you are in your life, you know, I've seen this guy knocked down. I saw him get knocked down in practice. And a Ward rolled this way and a leg rolled the other way. You guys that play football, you've never been through that before. I've seen this guy knocked down. I'm going to tell you something. I've seen him knocked down so many times. And the one thing that he does is he gets back up every time, time after time after time after time. And you don't tell this guy, you know, I mean, he just one of the most resilient young men I've ever been around. I tell you, I love him. And I love what he's done for our football team and our school and our community and me personally.
At Halloween one year, the doorbell rang, you know, and instead of taking the little bowl to the door for trick-or-treaters, Ward creaks the door open, takes his leg off, puts candy in it, and sticks his leg outside. And we had another time, I think, when he was playing fourth grade football, that he was the kicker for the team, which was so ironic because here you have a double amputee who's the kicker, and I got a call from the coach, Pat Cope, called me and said, Marion, every time he kicks, he's kicking his leg off too.
Do your legs get uncomfortable?
They do get uncomfortable. They get really hot and pretty heavy. They're like 12 pounds, so kind of heavy, kind of uncomfortable. And I grow out of them every now and then and have to get new ones and get all sorts of different stuff. So, here's what I have now.
Okay, y'all have a seat. I think he's going to take it off. Have a seat, have a seat, have a seat.
Y'all ever seen a kid with all leg before? What it looks like.
Look at that.
Yeah.
Now, does that give you a good comparison?
Ward, I know that you're going to be going to the University of Alabama. Let's all hear for the Crimson Tide. Coach Saban is very much aware of the accomplishments that you have made and what a great Alabama fan that you are. And he wanted to donate this personalized Alabama football to you just for the great inspiration that you've been to everybody.
Sound like Coach Saban, you guys. Give it up.